As you can see, it's a beautifully made carbon fibre aeroplane. It does come with wheel spats, but they're off at the moment because of the muddy conditions around here. Just running through the instruments, we've got fuel. With this plane, there's no dipstick. The fuel gauge is certified to be accurate. It's 112 litres and 106 litres of usable fuel. Airspeed indicator, artificial horizon, altitude, VOR, turn coordinator, VM1000. This gives us our percentage power, RPM, all the volts and oil pressures, also the cylinder head temperature and temperature of the oil. The good thing with this is that when it's turned on, you don't even really have to look at the numbers itself. If anything's out of its range, it's going to flash at you. So as the pilot, you can just have a glance at it and see that nothing's flashing at you and know that it's all within what it should be. So the fuel and the range, it's got 112 litres, of which 106 are usable. The range is, well, it's 22 litres an hour, so that gives you at least, say, 4.5 hours of flight. And finally, just the reason why I'm selling it is I've got a second one of these, and I don't need two, so that's why it's for sale. Yeah, just running through the other instruments here, we've got the audio panel. It's a Garmin GMA 340. With this one, you can control, there's two radios in this aircraft because it's IFR. One of the radios is in the Garmin 430, which is also does your navigation, and you do have a second radio down here, which is the Garmin SL40, and that's a requirement for IFR flight. You've also got your transponder, which is the Garmin GTX 327, so it's pretty loaded up. Over here we've got the flaps up and down. These lights here tell you the position of the flaps. 20 degrees for takeoff and 30 degrees for landing in light to medium winds. Avionics master. All these fancy looking things, they're really just fuses. We have a Hobbs meter there and a 12 volt outlet if you want to run a second GPS. Down here we have fuel boost pump. There's three settings: off, on, and the auto mode, which is what you leave it on pretty much all the time. That turns the fuel pump on only when the revs drop below 1000 rev per minute, so it just takes a little bit of the workload in your downwind checks when you're flying the aircraft. This aircraft doesn't have the carby heat because it's a fuel injected aeroplane, so your downwind checks really are minimal. Beside us we have the throttle here, the brakes, which is they're both finger brakes. That's what you use to control the taxiing of the aeroplane. It's just a left and a right. It's just the same as you're driving a tank. We have a trim, that's the nose up and down, that's pretty self-explanatory, and the fuel knob. In my aircraft I leave that on all the time. So the design of the aeroplane, it's a very strong structure. It was drop tested in America, and it was one of the only certified aeroplanes to pass the test, where they drop it from about 12 or 15 feet upside down and drag it down the runway inverted for about half a kilometre. It's a very, very balanced aeroplane to fly. It's very easy on the controls. Each movement of your control stick was designed to have even pressure all the way through the control movements, and that makes it a very balanced aeroplane. It's got a fairly high wing loading, which makes it very good penetrating turbulence, and if you take ladies out flying who don't like the rough weather, it's ideal for that. You just don't feel it much in this aircraft like you do in some other aircraft. Just on in terms of going on trips, that's a few things that I enjoy. It's ideal for that. You can put about 30 kilos or 40 kilos in the back section, and there's a huge area in here, so there's great storage, but the width of the cabin is very wide, and it just allows for a bit of comfort. And what they've done, they have sacrificed a bit of speed and gone for comfort, but you still get a very respectable 120 knots, which is pretty good.